year was on Zos Chanukah, and Rabbi Arieli came with his wife, and his wife was going upstairs, I imagine, to visit her mother. They lived in the yeshiva building. And he turns to his wife and says, Gemar Chasima Toiva. I don't know if he was saying it as a joke, or I'm pretty sure that I saw that mitzvah myself. But again, it's a long time ago, so I can't vouch for it. And Rabbi Arieli is not a Hasidish, not by any stretch of the imagination. So, chveis nicht.
I thought that's what the tweet was. The tweet was a non-Hasidish tweet, because by the Hasidim they burn the what's it called? Also, they make a whole circus.
A whole production, yeah.
A whole production out of burning the wicks.
Yes. I was just saying, if you want to
keep my wicks. You told me I can't throw out my wicks. I keep my wicks and I burn it with chametz.
Right.
I'm not supposed to do that.
No, you should. There's many that have that minhag.
What? You told me that like 2 years ago.
What?
You told me 2 years ago I shouldn't just throw out the wicks.
You shouldn't throw them. Well, that's the halacha.
Well, you usually.
So can I use them in my fire pit for when we want to roast marshmallows? Because it's for a devar mitzvah. Because we got to make a bracha.
Jesse, you get the prize of the night. Meanwhile, you're mechavan to tonight's Gemara. This is tonight's Gemara.
Marshmallows, really? Come on.
I took some leftover oil, put it into my candles. Yeah.
Am I the only one that really likes Rav Tzvi Yaakov's cardigan sweater thing the last few nights?
He's very old now. It's his birthday. He's getting older.
I bought it for myself.
That's his smoking cardigan.
I had to pin the video a little bit because I was like, is that his suit jacket? No, but it looks like a sweater the way it's cut.
It's not a sweater. It's an old man cardigan.
It's not Reb Aaron Horowitz's, bathrobe, but it's fashionable.
Listen, I know it's going to be the winter's over when I see that Mets T-shirt come on out again. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm going to. What do you call it? No, I figured if we're sitting in a jacket the whole day, I might as well get a sweater, right?
Very study.
Anyways, that's not what it was meant for. It probably doesn't.
That's a Zadie cardigan.
Yeah, now you're talking. All right, we're ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to continue. I mean, there's a lot of continuation from last night's sugya. So let's just chazer. So basa b'chalav doesn't have the word oichel. That was from yesterday. Daf chafei. Basa b'chalav doesn't have the word oichel. So therefore, even shaloi kederech hanasa, that and klai hakerem. And so then shaloi kederech hanasa is a problem because it doesn't say the word oichel. Right. Then we had a Machlokes whether klai, if it grows, if it's assur before it grows, right when it goes into the ground, or it has to grow a little bit. And then we said we're over on all isurim in order to save lives, except for aveida zara, shvichas damim, and gilui arayos. And then we learn out aveida zara from Shema. We learn out znus from killing. And then how do we know killing? Because it's logic. Then we had the story of Rav Ashi using Orlah to heal his daughter. And then where we're going to pick up the sugya tonight is if you have hana from something ba'al karcha. Right? If you get hana from something ba'al karcha, meaning your kavana is not to have hana. Right? So we said a few examples. Walking by a bakery on Pesach, or walking in a place that there's pritzas over there. What was the other mashal we used? We had another mashal, no? Not a mashal, example. I don't remember what it was. Okay, whatever it is, but something where you're going to be over on isurim. So we had a Machlokes, Abaya and Rava, and we had two different versions of the Machlokes. But basically, what it boils down to is if it's efshar, it's e efshar, meaning you have no choice, you have to be there, and you have kavanah, right? You have no choice, you have to be there, but you're having kavanah to that you're enjoying the davar isser. So does that work? Is that assur or not? So that's a Machlokes Abaya and Rava. So the Gemara is going to go back and forth with this. Just before we continue, the Pnei Yeshua says on this Gemara, right? So this whole thing is based on Reb Shimon and Reb Yehuda have a Machlokes whether davar she'eino mischaven is mutter or assur, right? Like we had in Shabbos, something unintentional, is that assur or mutter? But we said, the Pnei Yeshua points out and says, that's all if it's not a psik ratio, right? But we said if it's a psik ratio, even Reb Shimon is maida that a davar she'eino mischaven is assur, right? Meaning, you're going to cut off the chicken's head. So your kavanah is not to kill the chicken. The kavanah is to get a head for the kids to play with. But since it's a psik ratio, literally you're cutting off its head, so it's an automatic that you're killing it. So even Reb Shimon is meila that it's assur. So Pnei Yeshua says, if you know, if you're going to go someplace, it's an automatic that you're going to be over on the assur, then even Reb Shimon, then the whole conversation doesn't start. Meaning, if you know you're going to go to Manhattan on Pesach, and you're going to smell the bakery or the pretzels or whatever it is, and you're going to say, it's geschmack, and you know that that's an automatic.
Going to a game, Chalamoid.
Oh, very good, right. Going to a game, Chalamoid. That would be
I'm
torture.
not allowed to smell chametz, someone else's chametz on Pesach?
Not, you could smell it, but if you know that you're going to enjoy the smell, right? You know, you walk by those carts in Manhattan, you know you're going to enjoy it. You know there's a cart always on a specific corner that you have to go. So that's a psik ratio. It's a psik ratio. That's an automatic. You're going to be over, right? Okay. Whether you want to use that example, a different example, right? If I'm saying if you know you're going to go to a certain place, you're going to see pretzels and you're going to look at it. So that's a psik ratio. Then that should be awesome, right? Okay, but that's a different part of the sugya. Forgot to take a cup. Yeah, okay, so we're going to see more about this sugya now. Okay, so Amud Abaya, 3 lines down from the bottom, Chafava Merala. Amud Abaya, Mina Aminallah. How do we know? The Tanya, Amru Allah Rava Yochanan ben Zakai, Yoshe Betzila Shel Heichel. They said about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakai that he would sit in the shade of the Heichel, meaning the shade of the wall of the Beis Hamikdash, V'dairish Kol Hayom Kulei, and he would darshan the whole day. Now, here, it's not, he doesn't have a choice, meaning he has to be there to say the drasha, and he's having kavana because he wants to sit in the shade. And we're saying that it's obviously it's mutter. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakai wouldn't do it. It's also meaning he's being nana from the Beis Hamikdash, right? So again, the Gemara is saying it's loy efsha, and he's being mechaven. So the question is, what do you mean the loy efsha? Say the drasha someplace else. Who said he has to say the drasha within the shade of the Beis Hamikdash? Right? There was no other buildings that he could have done in the shade. Right? So Rashi says loy efsha means he didn't have a choice. He had to say the drasha of Hilchas Yom Tov. Right? That's what Rashi says. We had to darshan l'Rab and Hilchas Achag. Right? V'kam mechaven, and he had kavana to be menene from the shade of the Beis Hamikdash. Right? So it just seems like it's a very broad application how you define it's loy efshar, and he had kavana, right? Rashi saying clearly his kavana was that he was benefiting from the shade, yes, but the loy efshar, right? We were discussing this yesterday. How do you define the loy efshar? Is earning a living the loy efshar?
Couldn't he have said it any place else? Could he not have said it any place else? He could have said it any place else. Lav dafka if it has to do with Yom Tov or not.
No, that's true, but so
what does
others say
Yom
that
Tov have to do? Yes. So
Rashi says it was the only place he could do
it.
Doesn't Rashi say it was the only place he could do it?
I don't know if Rashi's saying that.
But
he's
why?
Saying, well, I don't know why. So other Rishonim say that. Other Rishonim say, yeah, that was the biggest area to say it, so he didn't have a choice.
You mean
Rashi doesn't seem to be
accommodate the most people.
Correct, but Rashi doesn't seem to be saying that. I don't know. David, you think that's what Rashi's saying? I'm not sure.
I mean, that's the way the footnote says. He says here, from Rashi, it would seem that Rav Yochanan ben Zakai chose this particular large space in front of the Temple Mount as the site for his lecture precisely because it was shielded from the sun by the sanctuary.
I hear, but that's
could have given him an umbrella.
An umbrella, and everyone who was listening.
It makes sense that by the Beis Hamikdash is where you want to be derish on Hilchas Chag.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe
is.
That's the connection. Yeah.
And and Rashi uses Milidrish l'Rabim. He's got to give it to the Rabbim. Where is the Rabbim on Yom Tov? There by the Beis Hamikdash. Maybe you could just say it like that.
Maybe it could
Aren't they bringing their korbanos on the Chag?
Yeah,
but this is Shloshim Yom Koydem Achag.
It doesn't say.
They're not there 30 days.
It doesn't say. Yeah.
Doesn't say Shloshim. You're right, but they don't wait till the Chag to get.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say anything. The truth is.
No.
Right.
It doesn't. He
I-
just said
I
B'darish.
thought
The
it
Gemara
did.
just says Darish Kalayim Kula.
It can be on Yom Tov because Kalayim Kule. That was assur.
No, because of what do you call it?
Chatzi Lashem.
Right. I hear.
Heavily
Anyways,
before
okay.
Yom Tov.
Right. That could be. Anyway, so that's what we're trying to bring a raya. So it must be Efsher, Loy Efsher.
Excuse me, Gershon, it just says he was darshaning the whole day. It doesn't say the guys were there the whole day.
He has Chatzi Lashem too.
You don't know what he has. He's a gadol. You don't know what he has. Okay.
The rest of the
I
oil.
know the Gedolei Adoyer keep halakha. That I do know.
You don't know what his halacha is. That's what I'm saying to you.
But there's two different tires now. That's assur
No,
to say.
there's about 14 tires. We're not getting into that tonight. That's not.
Hanukkah's Torah Shabbat Peh, right? Torah Shabbat Peh is Hanukkah. Very good. Okay, anyway, so that seems to be a raya to Abaya, that Loy Efsher and Mechavan is mutter, which would be a gewaldige thing for us, right? That means we're sitting, that Lashon Hara was the other example. That means we go to a vart and everybody's standing around saying Lashon Hara. You have to be by the vart because you have to be there. And you're having kavanah that this Lashon Hara is gishmak, right? So seemingly, according to Abaya, it's a raya from R Yochanan that it's allowed, right? The Rava Amar, how Rava is going to answer, Shani Heichel de l'soichei asi. No, Heichel is not really using Isser. It's not really using the Beis Hamikdash for your own needs because it's meant for the inside, not for the outside, right? So that's not. It's 1 second. It's shaloi kederach hanasai, like we learned on the previous dafs. Since 2 daf ago, since it's shaloi kederach hanasai, meaning because the derech to get hanof from the wall, the Beis Hamikdash is inside the Beis Hamikdash, not outside. So therefore, it's not asur. That's the way Rava is going to say it. So it's not a proof, meaning he's not doing anything wrong. Abaya says he is doing something wrong, but he didn't have a choice. All right, what are you saying, Gershon?
This case is a little bit different than what we were talking about. We were talking about hana from a davar assur. Here, the hana might be assur, but it's not a davar assur. The Beis Hamikdash.
Yeah, but it is assur for it's an assur for anybody to benefit from it. It's meila. You're not allowed to take personal benefit from the Beis Hamikdash.
That's true, but it's a separate assur. The assur is an assur hana. Whereas
Right.
the assur of I don't know, Basa B'chalav, for example, is an assur Basa B'chalav.
Right.
Neveya from that assur is an assur hana also.
That's
There's
not
a
true.
difference of Isser there.
Third time is you're not allowed to have enough from it. It's enough.
Yeah, but you need to have a davar assur to have a hana from. If it wasn't assur, the first one isn't hana. The first one is achila. The first one is bishul.
You can make a
Then you
shiur
have
and
achila.
not. You can make a shiur to not have hana from something. Doesn't have to be something that's assur like gamri to everybody.
That's true, but then that thing is a chayfetz shal isser, according to many Rishonim.
So too with the Beis Hamikdash, it's chayfetz of isser for hana.
Gershon, the tzel is a chayfetz shal isser, not the Beis Hamikdash. The tzel he's using is a chayfetz shal isser.
Then again, so you're doing an isser meila. That's not the same as having a zaytig, a benefit from something that happens.
I didn't
to
say
the
it's the same. I didn't say it's the same.
Fine. So my whole horror was that it's different than what we were talking about.
Okay, I hear.
I don't
But
know
we're
if-
gonna have a lot of cases, so we'll see. We have to try and analyze each case. Chaval is that we don't have enough. We don't have, even if we were doing this first Seder, I don't think we have enough time for this sugya. Okay, but we'll try. We'll squeeze it into let's see. So fine, that's Abaya's raya. How do I know? The Tanya, Lulin hayu psuchin la baliyas beis kachay hakadashim. They had a hole in the roof of the beis kachay hakadashim. Shebhen meshalshelin es ha'omnim b'tevus. That's they would lower down the workers in boxes so that their eyes shouldn't wander to be nene from the Beis Kachay Gadashim. Meaning this is guys that they needed to do repairs to the inside of kodesh Gadashim. If they're gonna just let the workers can't walk in there, that's you're not allowed to. So they drop them down from the ceiling. But the problem is, of course, their eyes are gonna look around where they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to be looking. So they built a box around them. right? They built the box, sort of like the window washers, but with the wall going all the way up, so the window washers can't see anything other than the wall that they have to repair, right? Here's loy efshar because they have to do the repair, and they're having kavana, and we're saying that no, it's assur. We're going to build a wall around them.
I always had this halakha shver. If you're not allowed to look at what's inside the kadashim, how did they ever know it needed repairs?
You're not allowed to look.
Exactly.
Oh, that's what you're asking.
I've always had the same kasha.
The kohen tells him there's a
The
leak.
kohen goes in once a year.
The kohen gadol
So
on
what?
Yom
So
Kippur
he
was
looks
looking
around,
at
he
the
checks
walls
it
to
out.
see if they need repairs.
No,
That's what he's
didn't.
doing.
He
He's
doesn't
involved
do it.
in the
No,
aveida.
but he
He's taking
sees
survey.
something.
There's water coming out of it. I don't understand.
There's a puddle.
Yeah.
If there's water in there, you have problems. There's no water in the base kadashim. There's fire once a year.
Well,
Okay,
there
whatever.
was, and now they need to go in and inspect.
If they had water in the kadashim, you know how many asifas they probably have to do tshuva for that? I mean,
There's probably tarnish on the gold, on the golden.
I don't know. I'd say I hear the kasha. I hear the question.
Called wear and tear. Of course it needs service.
Maybe they looked around
If
to
it exists,
see
it
if they
needs
need
service.
something.
So you have a scheduled
Yeah.
service plan. There's
Wear and
smoke in
tear
there,
is visible.
visible thing.
Who is observing it,
This is
Yehuda?
invisible wear
Who's
and tear.
looking at
You
Who's
don't.
looking around?
You know that.
The kohen.
You know that by a certain amount of time, you know that it needs repair. So they know that every 6 months or year and a half, whatever,
They had it
they're
on
going
a
to lower it down.
preemptive plan. No, you do it all the time. There's preemptive
Yes,
maintenance.
exactly. And I'm not even in construction.
You get the
The
oil
I mean,
change.
Rashi-
Before the light comes on, you get the oil change. You don't have to wait for that light to go on.
Okay, but the thing, okay, very good, parrots. But I'm saying,
Yes,
there's
you
a-
do.
What do you mean? My light
You're
has to be on for
Jewish.
3 months before I get it changed.
At least 3 months.
Yeah. Anyways, what else would I look at? A whole
For you, the light was the simon that you had oil in the first place.
no jokes. No jokes. But anyway, Rashi says "Kishayesh bedek b'choimas beis kodesh hakadashim." So I don't know how you touch bet when there's there was bedek in the walls of the kodesh hakadashim. Okay, whatever it is. It's not possible. I mean, they have to do the repair or the inspection. There you go, right? That's the word. Become mechaven, and you're having kavana, and we put the wall around them, and it's assur. Right? So v'tizbara, so that would mean also, repairmen, if you're going to the city to work, according to this, you got to put a 3-walled box around you, so then you don't see things that you're not supposed to see. According to Rava, that's what it seems. The problem is, I think we're paskening like Rava, but okay, v'tizbara, I mean, it's not a problem, but okay, we'll see as we get to the end of the sugi. V'tizbara, is that true? V'amar Rav Shimon ben Pazi, Rav Yishua ben Levi, Mishum bar Kafra, kol umar v'reich ein behen b'shum meila. The voice, sight, and smell don't have an isser meila, right? They made a mile in base kadashim, meaning so the Gemara is saying it's not a raya because the reason why they put it around them is just because they want to do a higher madrega of not benefiting from it, because there is no isser of meila for voice, for seeing, and for smell. So there really was no isser going on here. So it's not necessarily a proof, which I think l'chari you could answer for the Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakai also. Then I don't know how shade. I don't know where shade comes into that. I don't know if shade is. I don't know. I'm not sure. Ikadari or another version of this. Amar Rabba Mino Aminullah. How do I know? The Tanya Amar B'Shum and Pazi. Amar B'Shum and Levi. Mishum Bar Kafra. Kol Amar V'Reich Ein Ben B'Shum Meila. Meila Hu Deleka. Ha Isura Ika. It doesn't have Meila, but there's still assur to do it. My love lies in B'Fnim. The Lay Yashem Kam Mechaven V'Asur. Is it not talking about the people that are standing inside the Beis Hamikdash, that it's not possible for them and then Mechaven and it's assur? So we say Lay lies in B'Chutz. No, it's for the people that were standing outside, right? So a little bit of different version of the Gemara. Now, I heard today from Rabbi Rosner, and Rabbi Rosner, he said a fascinating Igros Moshe, where what's up shot Ein Ben Meshum Meila Daraisa. Yeah, look at the Rashi Ein Ben Meshum Meila. Yeah, Daraisa. It's not. They don't have Meila. Kol Reach doesn't have meila dairaisa. Mid dairaisa they don't have meila, but they do have it mid darabanan. There is an isser meila, whatever that means. But it's not Midaraisa would be mutter, but midarabana you can't. Hoil ve'ein ben mamish. There's nothing to it. There's nothing tangible to smell and to voice or whatever, right? V'kimin de midaraisa sharu. So since midaraisa it's mutter, ki loy efshar kegoin hacha amaya tchunu rabbanon. Since it's loy efshar, why would the rabbanon give you a tircha? Ela meila ba'almahu. It's just a meila, meaning Rashi's learning that since it's the rabbanon, yeah. So meila, when you're in a situation of loy efshar and you have kavana, midrabbanon it's going to be mutter according to Rashi, right? If it's a issur derabbanon that you'd loy efshar from, then it's going to be mutter. Well, I was trying to think of a case. You're muted, Rabban. Rabban, you're muted.
Is that we say ain't shvus b'migdash? So this is happening in the migdash. So there's no derabbanans.
Okay. I hear. Maybe. I hear, but okay, but I don't know about that. But what's that? Before we get to Ramosha, but clearly from what Rashi is saying is that if the loy efshar that you're doing and your kavana is for the derabbanon, then it's not a problem. Anybody have any example of that? Okay, so I guess I'll say Ramosha's example. It was actually Ramosha. He said Rav Hutner asked Ramosha. Ramosha writes this in a tshuva. Arachaim Aleph Kuf Chav Gimel. Rav Hutner asked him, if you have a downstairs tenant, the landlord, is an irreligious Jew, and he turns on the heat on Shabbos, and the tenant is from, is the person allowed to be nene from the heat on Shabbos, or he has to leave? Right? Because a yid did this, right? Gishmak Shayla. So Ramosha, this the brilliance of Ramosha goes straight to this Rashi here and says to be nene from Melecha Shabbos is a derabbanon. And Rashi holds that a derabbanon, it's loy efshar because this guy, he's sitting in his apartment and his landlord turned on the heat. It's loy efshar, he has kavana because he's happy with the heat. Ramosha says since it's winter and it's cold and it's loy efshar kamachavan, and Rashi in Pesachim says that we don't say efshar and loy efshar kamachavan is an issue on a derabbanon, right? And then he says, Taisva seems to disagree. This Taisva right here disagrees with Rashi. He says that's only when you don't have when you had that for hakadashim, but mashma that even Taisus would be maida. If you don't have a choice, then it would be okay. Taisus is tizbara. Anyway, so that was it's a very gishmak that Ramosha passing straight from there's no other Maramakamis that he brings down other than this Rashi, and that's what he was basing it on. Yeah, but it's also
any derabbanon. I mean, this is when you have to actually really know what's a derabbanon, what's a deraisa.
Correct.
I tell you, it doesn't matter because every derabbanon is really deraisa. But I guess here,
no, we're talking about an issa derabbanon, but
yeah.
Again, Ramosha was only saying it's shas atchak winter. He wasn't just writing it off. Yeah. When I was giving shiur, I don't know if I told this over there. When I was giving shiur to the beginning shiur in Shayoshu, so one of the guys is not yet a Jewish. So I was telling them about Hilchos Shabbos, trying to be mechazik them that it's very difficult to be over on an issa deraisa on Shabbos. So the guy who's not yet Jewish pipes up. He says, "Tell me about it. Every Shabbos I'm trying to be over on issa deraisa, and I can't figure out what to do." So I didn't say, "Oops, I did." That wasn't my kavanah when I said that, but it was very interesting.
What do you
Anyways,
tell them? Strike the match? What did he say?
I guess he turns on an incandescent bulb, I'm assuming. I don't know.
I probably do it more than he does, right? I'm saying,
I'm not saying yeah. I'm just saying yeah.
What do you mean?
Anyway.
I thought he carries something. No.
Confession to clergy is not part of our religion, David.
Listen. You want to know? You want to feel meshuga with this guy? I said over Mesilas Yesharim. He says, "Oh yeah, that's Perek whatever Tesva." Guy can't read Hebrew, but he tells me which Perek. Then I quoted a pasuk. He says it's a pasuk in the Torah. He says, "No, it's not. It's in Yeshua." Like, oh, you got to be kidding! I can't believe that I'm sitting here and I got a guy who's not even Jewish fixing me. You know what I mean? Whatever. It was
They call that a ringer. They call that a ringer.
Anyways, that's very good. Okay, so weiter. So Gufa. Now we just get sidetracked a little bit on the Hana thing, which has to do with the last day of Hanukkah, what Jesse was saying before. Gufa, Amar Rab Shimon ben Pazi, Amar Rab Shua ben Levi, Mishum Bar Kafra. Kol Umar v'Reich ein ben Mishum meila. right? So like we just said, voice and seeing and smell doesn't have meila. V'reach ein bo mishum meila. Reach doesn't have meila. V'tanya mefatim as a ketores. If somebody tries to imitate the ketores, l'islamid ba to learn how to do it, or to hand it over to the tzibur, then he's potter. Because he can't do it, but it's potter because he's not doing it for his own sake. But if he's making the ketores, then he's chayiv chorus. Potter, and somebody who smells what this guy made is potter ela shema, but he was over on meila. So what do you mean? So you see very clearly that you can be over on meila on something that smells. So ela omar of papa kol umara ein be'em mishum meila. So voice and seeing doesn't have meila. If you ben mamish, there's nothing tangible there. And reach, after the smell already goes up of the ketores, then there's no meila on it. However, nasis mitzvah, since the mitzvah was already done. Yeah. So then the Gemara says, the nasis mitzvah, once the mitzvah is done, there's no meila. Alright, Trumah hadeshen. The Trumah hadeshen, which is when they took the Trumah they took the ashes from the Beis Hamikdash, right, every day, the nasis mitzvah, that's done already. And if you use the ashes, it is meila. You have to put it next to the mizbeach. Shaloi yifazer means that you shouldn't spread it out anywhere. The samai shaloi yahana, and the samai teaches you that you shouldn't benefit from it. Yeah. So you see that there are things that even once the mitzvah, the Trumah hadeshen is already done, you're still not allowed to use it. So when answers from the Trumah hadeshen, the big day kahuna shnei ksuvin abayin kehecha. No, Trumah hadeshen and big day kahuna are two psukim that come to say the same thing. We know the rule is v'chal shnei ksuvin abayin kehecha ein melam. Meaning, if you have two psukim in two parshias telling you the same thing, so that means that it must be exclusive to them. Because otherwise, why couldn't you just learn it out from one place and just learn it out to every place else? But since the psukim since the Torah says it twice, it's meant exclusively for those two cases. So that's what we're saying. So Trumah hadeshen and big day kahuna are two ksuvim b'ayin ke'echad. Trumah hadeshen hada amaron. Big day kahuna, right? We just said Trumah hadeshen. Big day kahuna t'siv v'nichem sham, and you leave them there. Milamit shatun gniza, meaning after the kohen gadol is done with the aveida on Yom Kippur, that has to go into it has to be buried. So Gemara asks, this that we learn out from this that it needs geniza. So then that works. But according to Rav Dais, who disagrees, that the kohen hedjit can use the kohen gadol's clothing. So what does it mean? You leave them there, meaning after the kohen gadol is done with it on Yom Kippur. You shouldn't use it for another Yom Kippur. Then Michael, what are you going to say according to him? No, so Trumah hadeshen and eglah Arufa, right? When you find when you find a dead person, you don't know what he belongs to, so you have to bring a cow and you have to snap its neck, right? So those are shnei ksuvin. So we don't learn out to anywhere else in the Torah. So meaning only those are assur even after the mitzvah is done. But everything else, it's not. That works according to Mandam, it says melamdin. But according to Mandam, it says melamdin ma'ikla meimar. So we say trei miutim ksiv. You know, there's two miutim, right? It says ksiv the samai, right? So it says the extra vav, right? It's samai, that samai, you place it, only it, and that's it. Ksiv ha'arufa, and it says arufa. So there's a two. Ha'arufa, ksiv ha'arufa, right? I want to just say ksiv arufa. So that tells you that only these, that it comes to exclude everything else. So
Yaakov,
yeah.
Just as I think it's interesting, not to compare Rebbe to Kohen Gadol, but the visions of Rebbes have the kittel and the kapel from the Aptarov. That's what they wear Shana Rabbah, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. For the it's 150 years old, and it's gold. It's no more white. Because it's never.
I think I'm right. I've seen the picture of that, right? It looks brown, gold, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Chabad also has that.
When they get married. The shirt, right?
Yeah, you'd have the Rebbe's shirt.
Or something.
Shirt. You wear the Rebbe's shirt, by the chassan wears the Rebbe's shirt. I think instead of a kittel.
By the chuppah, yeah.
Yeah. So what do we learn out from this? That once the mitzvah is done, so now is it assur or not? So what's the story? That's where we come in with the last day of Hanukkah. Once your menorah is out, so now the oil, if you have leftover oil in your menorah, you can't benefit from it. It's also to benefit from it, right? Because it was muksa for a mitzvah. So once it was muksa for a mitzvah, you can't do anything, right? That's why you burn it, or some people leave it for Pesach, or some people put it into their campfire like Jesse, right? But it's such a chashash. It's very interesting that why can't you leave the menorah for next year? Leave the oil for next year, right? You can't, because with chayshit over the year you're going to use it. Even it's so important that even if you put it into a klai that's disgusting, right? We had that before, like to use on a Friday night, we thought maybe the Gemara had a havamina that if you put into the oil into an earthenware klai, it's disgusting. You would never take anything from it. So the Mishavur also brings, maybe you put it into a disgusting klai, that means you'll never use it for frying the whole year round. He said, no, we're chashash takala, right? So the eitzes, Lord texts it out today that you have in mind that it's only the half hour that has kedusha, and the rest of it is just bonus. Also, the oil that's left in the jar, not the jar, whatever, the bottle that you had it and you meant it for menorah, that also doesn't have kedusha because it wasn't part of what you were lighting. But that's where this halacha comes from over here. That is whatever had the mitzvah has kedusha to it. The only thing I'm just not sure is why we're so concerned with Hanukkah with the shemen. What about lulav and esrog? Right, lulav and esrog, we say once meikar adin, you can't be mavazeh, but once it's done, you can't. You're allowed to leave it around. You can make esrog jam, etc., etc. So I don't know why the oil on Hanukkah is different. I'm not sure. I worked on that a little bit today. I don't really have it so clear. If anybody has a shot, you can let me know, please. Okay, whatever it is. So that was interesting. That's today's sugya. Okay, we're back to the sugya of efshar v'loy mechaven or e efshar v'kom mechaven. So Toshima, 3 lines up from the bottom. Hichnisa l'ravaka. So this is again talking about what do you call it? What's it called?
Plowing.
No, but applying. No, but it's it's
a yoke or a brace.
No, I'm saying, but what's the issue? What's the issue here? I forgot. Eglah Arufa, right? We're going right to it, Eglah Arufa, right? Yeah. So Eglah Arufa, you got to use a cow. There's no matter. You can't Eglah Arufa.
That wasn't working.
You can't use a cow that ever did any sort of work. It's got to be a koilel cow, right? That's so Chnisa l'ravaka, right? But let's say you put it into the ravaka is the what's the word?
Where they go around and they
the yoke,
do the wheat.
It's ravaka is with a bunch of animals together.
Right, so they do it all together. They walk around.
A team of cows.
Team of cows. Okay, there you go.
Herd.
There you go.
A herd.
A herd.
What Archgirl says that.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so Chnisa l'ravaka. So you took this calf that you eventually plan on snapping its neck, right? Vidasha, and it threshes. Ksheira, it's still kosher. B'shvil shatinik v'tidish psula. But if you put it there in order, right now, so the first part here, we got to, Rashi says it, but it's unclear from the Brisa. If the calf has to nurse from the mother, but the mother's got a job to do. So you put the calf with the mother, and the calf is nursing from the mother, and then it goes around threshing. So did the calf do work? The calf did do work, right? But that wasn't your kavanah. Your kavanah was just that it should nurse. So that's kosher. But if you put the calf into this, what do you call it, a team, for 2 reasons, you had it in your head for 2 reasons. 1, you wanted it to nurse. 2, you wanted it to do work. Then it's possible for the eglah Arufa. Here, it's not possible to not. This calf has got to live. It's got to nurse from the mother, and you're also having kavanah v'katani pasula, and we learned that it's possible.
Maybe
right?
It's not. Maybe it's like who said it? Abu a few 10 blot ago when he said the threshing on the Har Zaysim to show them when you could eat chametz. Then we said they really weren't plowing. We just make believe. Right.
So you want to say that here too?
They were filming a movie. They were making a movie of cows. Then it wasn't really working. This eglah Arufa guy.
Okay, I guess you could say that pshat, but here we're saying that here. Okay, if that was taka pshat, then maybe it wouldn't be But the assumption is that it did plow, right?
Here it's for work here.
What?
Here it's for work. I mean, the mother's working, and they tied the what do you call it? And the animal, the baby animal is nursing, and that's it.
This was
Right, so
pre-child
what-
labor laws.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
Baby's got a
different
nurse.
story.
Baby's got a nurse. The
Yeah,
baby's got a nurse.
got a nurse. So
Whatever.
it's walking around with the mother.
Right. So it's lo yefshar, but you have kavanah. Right? In the ratio, you didn't have kavanah. In the
It was
ratio, you just
take
wanted
your
it to nurse.
child to work day.
They don't
Yeah.
need the child to work. They just need the child to nurse.
Right. So then the seifa, is saying you had kavanah, so it says psula. So when it answers no shani hasam, it says there's a different possible. Eglah Arufa, it says there should be no work done no matter what. Right? So there it's a special pasuk that tells you that any work that was done, but it's not necessarily a proof that you don't have a possibility of not being there, and you have kavanah that it's a problem. If that's the case, then the ratio should also be a problem. Right? The ratio, we said, even if you didn't have kavanah, then the cow is fine to snap its neck. But it also, right? It did do work. So no, that's only similar to this case of right? Let's say a bird decided to sit down on top of the back of this animal. Right? The animal's not allowed to carry any sort of load. So let's say a bird flies down on top of the back and it walks around. So is that called a load? So we're saying it's kosher. But if you put a zachar onto her, right? So then that's nichale, then it's going to be psula. My timer. So I'm going to pop a iksiv avad v'karinon avad. If it would say that you did work with this animal and you read it like that, that would have to say until you yourself do the work. Iksiv uvad v'karinon uvad. And if it would say work has to be been done by somebody, not necessarily by the owner, but by somebody on filim and meila nami. But then even if it just happened to be just like the bird landing on it, then it would also be possible. But hashid siv avad uva karinan uvad, it's a kriyan ksiv, right? So it says avad, and you read it uvad dumya the avad. It has to be the uvad. It has to be similar to the person that was actually working with it. Ma'avad denichale af uvad denichale. It has to be when you're working the calf yourself. So it has to, obviously it's something that you want. So even if it happened, so meila, we learn out that even uvadba, where it happened against your will, meaning it's just the bird landed on it, if you're happy with it, then fine. If you're not happy with it, no. Whatever it is, the point of the Gemara is that the maskonas hadvarim is that eglah Arufa you can't bring rayas from because it has a special pasuk that says any sort of work that was done with it is a problem. But that work has to at least be nicha to you. If it's not nicha to you, then it's not a problem. That's why if the baby's just nursing, and you don't care for it to help out, so then it's not a problem. But if you care for it to help out, then it's a problem because of avad uvad, right?
Can you bring a raya from this Gemara to someone who has a job in the city? That's called the efshar. Is here, there's a simple eitzah. Take the mother out from the other animals so she can nurse outside.
Right.
But it's still called the efshar because we don't care where the mother is. The baby has to nurse, so we keep the mother where it is. It's still a yevshila.
I don't know. I hear your
job
point.
In the city.
So you want to say that maybe you're not mechuyev to lose the job. You're not mechuyev to lose the job, right?
That's
very good. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that, Raya. Yeah, that's very good. That's pretty much where a Moshe comes out. We'll get to the Igros Moshe in a couple of minutes when we get to the end of the sugya. But okay, fine. Toshima. Aveida, so if you have an aveida, you found a lost object, right? You shouldn't, let's say it's a jacket or something, right? You found it on the street. So you shouldn't spread it out, right? And on a bed, and you shouldn't hang it on a hook either. That's what a mogud, yeah? L'tzarchai, for its sake, right? Yeah, meaning not its sake, for your own sake. You need it. You want to make it look like you have a chashavah. You find a chashavah jacket and you want to hang it up. It makes it look like you're a chashavah guy. You're not allowed to do that because it doesn't belong to you. But let's say you need to hang it out so that it doesn't get wrinkled, it doesn't get destroyed, then you're allowed to do that, but only because it's for the need of the jacket. But I'd say you get guests in your house. You're not allowed to spread it out, not for its need and not for your need. Why? Because when guests are there, you're going to be very happy that it looks like you have a hush of a thing, but even though it doesn't belong to you. Now, isn't this loy efshar and kamechaven? And we say you're allowed to do it, right? It's loy efshar because you have to make sure that this person, whoever it belongs to, his jacket doesn't get ruined. So you have to hang it up, but we're afraid that you're going to be mechaven to make yourself look chashuv by having this jacket, right? So you see, loy efshar and mechaven is author.
What's the eitzah? To toss it somewhere where it's crumpled up? Then he looks even more chashuv. He has the $1 million suit that's crumpled up on the floor.
I know. I guess you keep it under lock and key. You don't show it around, right? That's what I would think.
It means in public. It doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Yeah, no, it's in public where the guests are going to see
someone might see.
Yeah, that's what I think. So anyways, whatever it is, you see it's loy efshar v'cham mechaven and it's a problem. So where it says, shani hasam de kolile, right? There it's different because it's what kolile means to burn it. It's like you're burning it. If you hang this jacket out like that, it's like you're burning it. Imishum eina bisha, either because of ayin hara, imishum ganavi, or because the ganavim, maybe there's going to be some guests there that are ganavim. I'm going to say this chashuv a jacket and I'm going to take it. They're going to steal it. So it's either ayin hara or stealing. Now, what does it mean, ayin hara? That means jealousy, l'chayra. That means jealousy. It's one of the more shvera. So what's going to happen? Somebody's going to come into your house, see this chashuv a jacket, and put the evil eye on it, as they say, right? And what happened? It's going to get destroyed.
This week's Pasha talks about the Ayin Hara. It tells them
Very good, from Yosef.
Go into the 10, Yosef, and also that the kids should go into 10 different doors.
Right, very
no one
good.
should see them.
Yeah.
So, Ihachi, you shouldn't be spreading any blanket. It doesn't have to be this guy who you found. It's not an aveida. It's any blanket. You should never be putting something fancy in your house.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand this.
That's exactly, Benjamin. This is the problem. After this Gemara, the Gemara is treating it. The Gemara is taking ayin hara so serious here that we're chayshed that if you might end up making somebody's jacket get destroyed, burnt is the lashon of the Gemara, because somebody's going to put an ayin hara on it. So after you learn that Gemara, why would anybody ever want to do anything fancy? Right?
If it's above their station.
And especially if most of the time it doesn't belong to them. So mortgaged or leased or anything else.
Yeah, very good, Peretz. Very good. So I don't know. This is a shvera sugya. Does it mean that you're actually changing nature? Is a fire going to come down and burn this thing because a guy had an ayin hara on it? Right? Then you have those that say ayin hara is only a problem if you're concerned with it. Right? Yeah. Then I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Rabbi, I used to think that you had fancy shades behind you the other week, and now I see they're a little off. So maybe, my thinking they're so fancy fell off track.
You know what? I was in somebody else's house. But yeah. Yes, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't understand. So when do you do things nice? What's called doing something? You want to do a mitzvah kiroi. You got a nice menorah, right? You got a nice silver menorah. It's vezekeli vanveyu, right? Somebody's driving by, sees your menorah.
It says you should buy silver.
I know, but the same, right? It says that, right? But the guy drives by, says, "Ooh, look at that menorah!" Right now, you did ayin hara. I don't know. It's a sugya that's way beyond. Okay, fine. Toshima, next raya, last raya. Toshima, moichrik sus. Right, so sellers of clothing, moichrin kedarkon, they could sell in the regular way. Right now, obviously, he's talking about shatnez, right? Meaning, okay, I'm sorry to get with my pet peeve. This is not clothing that wasn't checked for shatnez, okay? If you'd be able to put that on, but This is talking about real shatnez, not that it wasn't checked yet. It's real shatnez. He knows he's selling shatnez, right? So sellers of shatnez are allowed to sell it the regular way. When it's sunny outside, they shouldn't have kavana that their clothing should protect them from the sun, and in the rain that it should protect them from the rain. Vatznuin, and those that are tznuin, which is an interesting one. It's an interesting. What do you mean tznuin, right? Tznius, the way Rashi teaches it here, doesn't mean tznius hidden ones, right? To go hidden, it means that they're prushim. Rashi says they're prushim, people that are machmer on themselves. They stay away from isurim, right? Vatznuim mafshilin lachareim b'makol. What they do is they hang the clothing behind them on a stick. So now what's the case here? Here, the regular seller can do like the tznuin, right? He can put it on a stick. He doesn't have to wear the clothing. And if he doesn't have kavana, right, that we said, as long as you don't have kavana in the rain to protect yourself in the rain and the sun to protect your sun, so it's mutter. To yufted laman the tani the masti lishna kama the Rava. So that's a shlug up of the lishna kama of Rava, who had said that is efshar and loy mechaven is assur. So from here we see that efshar and loy mechaven is mutter. So that's a tiyufta. Okay, so we slug up the first version of Rava. Fine. Lamaisa Geret, the Chafetz Chaim says we paskin like normally when we have a Machlokes Rava and Abaya, we paskin like Rava, right? And we go in this situation we paskin like the second shita. So meila, what does Rava say in the second shita, right? So we say that Ein Mischaven that Rabbi Yehuda's meila, right? Mischaven Shein, right? How does he say it? I'm confusing it already. How do you go? Right. If it's efshar, if it's efshar v'kam mechaven, right? Then it's a problem, right? So with the pas lemaisa we paskin if it's efshar, right? You don't have a choice to be there, and you have kavana, then it is a problem. Right, so now Ramosha in the Igros Moshe and Eben Ezer really discusses this whole thing, and he says, he basically says that you can't assur somebody from going to. I'll just read the tshuva for a second because I don't want to put words into his mouth. He says tzarich in ledina. If you don't, it's. Where should I read it from? I'll read it says, in a streets that with our averas people go very cross. You can't assur people from walking in the street. You have to try with all ways possible. And the ikar is just to be masiyach das from here when you're walking in the streets. And he says, Mustavar in the streets, it's very easy to be masiyach das from seeing the priestess. When you're walking in the street, you want your Torah to make sure you don't get damaged or you don't damage somebody else. He said you can't assur something that everybody can't be oimid. Right? So he said you can't assur people walking in the streets. But the only thing is, you see from this that he is entertaining the thought that maybe taka, if it's efshar and mechaven, that it should be assur to walk in the streets. He just says it's not possible to assur it, right? But the bottom line is if there's something that we're doing that's efshar and we have kavanah to do it, then it's a problem. Right?
He's basically saying don't have the kavanah, right? Because efshar mechaven is assur, so just make it that it's not mechaven.
Correct. You have to make it that you masiyach das from it, which is a whole lot easier said than done. Correct. So
can you repeat the line umistaber? Those few words.
Umistaber sheberechayvos hu davar nekel lasiyach daitay. It's easy to be masiyach das. I don't know. Mishum the tor.
That means that he didn't walk in the street ever. He never went there.
Yeah.
Mustaber. It's easy.
He was also a Moshe Feinstein. Let's not. Yeah. I know another place in Igros Moshe, he says beferish that when you're walking in the street, you have to look down. I know he says that someplace. I can't remember where I saw it. Yeah. So he does say tzarachian if you have to go there for work. He says tzarachian ladino. Okay, whatever it is. Fine. But again, the point is voluntarily going places where you know you're going to see preachers is really, listen, I'm not Mr. Kanoi over here, so I'm just saying I have the same issues, and I don't know exactly. I'm not exactly sure.
When I was in Yerushalayim, once with Rav Yaakov Wiener, medical halacha event, so he took a very roundabout way through all sorts of back alleys to go from one part of Shalim to the other. So I said, why are you doing that? Because you don't want to see chil Shabbos. You don't want to see people driving by. It desensitizes you. It's not good for your neshama. So you try to go through all these alleys where you don't see a car driving by. I thought it was interesting.
That is.
We do get desensitized.
Yeah, 100%. See, to go to a ball game, I have no problem being Masiyach Das from everything else. If I'm interested, if it's a good game, I'm not worried about the preachers. I could be Masiyach Das. I don't know about walking down the street, but a ball game, yeah. Or I can tell you like this: if you go to a game, are you mechuyev to spend extra money to get front row seats so you don't see any preachers? You sit yourself down at the beginning of the game and you don't get up, right? Nobody's buying that, huh? Okay, just a thought.
Your problem with the ball game is if you honor the player and you think you.
That's a different issue. We're not talking about. We're just talking. You're watching it. You're just watching.
What honoring the players? What are you babbling? Honoring the players?
You're talking about preachers of people around you.
Yes, I'm not.
Or you're talking about only baseball games, Yaakov.
Other has to be only baseball.
Further away.
Yes. Ask Elio Wikovic. He can't. Whatever. He doesn't go to games that have cheerleaders. Somebody told him not to.
So then it's extra, right?
I catch all kinds of tsaros from people for that one. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you tell me. Listen, tell them to ask them if they learn Daf Yomi. Learn this Daf and tell me what the heter is. But okay,
nowadays that they have male cheerleaders.
I don't know. I hear
that might be worse.
Nice that you go to a game, so. Right, Reb Zevlev was at the soccer.
He was learning. Nobody points out that he was learning there. That right? He was learning. He had a Gemara open.
So, but I'm saying that's efshar, right? It was avoidable.
So he must know that he was not going to look. He must have known that he's not going to look. Or also he was wearing a coat.
It was the efshar.
It was in the winter also. It makes enough kamina if it's in the winter or not, right?
No, because even hockey games have cheerleaders now. So what is that? That's
I hear. All right, whatever.
It was a big Kiddush Hashem because the commentators mentioned that he was looking in the book.
Right, yeah. Okay, so let's see weiter. Now, okay, the rest of this it is not so easy. So we said that when you're burning the chametz, you can't use it to cook things with it, right? Which are also bad, right? So you're heating up the oven with Orlah or with straw of klai hakerem. And if you did chadash, if it's a brand new oven, then you got to bust up the oven. Why? Because the first time you use the oven, that's sort of. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll go back to the last week. I had to discuss it. Elio, you didn't remind me. I had a Grace Shaila from tell me if this is an EF or an F. Yeah, I got a Shaila from two people this week. They're in a pickup hockey game, and a girl signed up to be in it. Do they have to? I'm not. Do they have to quit the game?
If they could stay in the Daf Yomi, then they could stay in the hockey game. If you can't stay in the Daf Yomi with a woman, then you can't stay in the hockey game.
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't have where you were going with that at first. Yeah, but no. It's like a guy asks me, well, if she's in pads and all this, and I can't tell she's a girl, is it a problem? Right? I said, I don't know. I can't say I ever got that Shiloh before. Right?
Is it a problem if you think you're looking at a girl and it turns out to be a guy where you're not over on an aveida?
It's no jokes.
Had the Herhurim were there, you know what I mean? Like
that Shiloh was already asked with the cross-dressing and all that. Those mishigasin, yes.
Parents, after you make yourself throw up, then you have to do tshuva or not.
Yeah. So I was wondering.
You
No,
mix
no.
up a guy and a girl, you got other problems.
And well, in a hockey
Man
thing.
down, nobody was talking to you.
But anyway, no, I'm serious. Like, is it called? Let's say a guy needs the hockey for exercise. Let's say Taka. Is that a efshar or efshar?
What's the issue there? Histaklis or Nagia?
Both.
Histaklis is a problem. How is it histaklis? What exactly can you see?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't give it that much thought, to be honest with you. But I don't know.
If this is his profession,
No, it's not a
it shouldn't be-
profession. No, it's a pickup game. You know,
Oh.
you sign up and it's a pickup game. Okay, whatever it is. Let's see. Yes, a ton of
You didn't mean that.
I
You
can
didn't mean
hear.
that as a double entendre, right?
Yeah, I didn't mean that, doctor. Very good. Sorry about that. Okay. Tana Rabbanan. Yes. Tana shesiku beklipe Orlah bekash klai hakerem. So you have an oven that you heat it up with Orlah and klai hakerem. So if it's a brand new oven, so you have to bust it. Why? Because using that oven the first time, that like solidifies it. So now you solidify it with something that's also bahana, right? So you have to bust the oven. Yashon. If it's an old oven, then you have to let it cool off first, and then you could use it again. Because if you don't let it cool off, that means you're being nene from something that's also bahana. Abaya is a pass. But let's say you baked bread in there when you had the heat source was coming from something that's also bahana. Rebbe Omer pas assur. So Rebbe says the bread is going to be assur. The Chum say the pas is going to be mutter. Bishul agabi gacholim. If you put it on top of coals, then everybody holds it's mutter. Meaning once it goes to coals, then already everybody says you're not really benefiting from the Isser Hano. The Machlokes is whether you have the flames coming out from the Isser Hano, so your bread is getting heated up by the Isser Hano. That's Rebbe's shita. That the pas. That's why the pas is also. And the Chachamim say no, the pas is mutter, right? That it has your bread is getting baked has nothing to do with the source of the heat. It's too far removed, right?
Is the utats at the beginning on a new oven? Is that because it's klicharis, so it's not kashrable?
I would think so.
A metal oven would be okay. You just kasher it.
You just kasher, I would think, right? That's what I would think. No, maybe not. No, maybe not, because what makes the whole oven is the first time you use it. Right? So now the whole oven became an oven, like the makabah patish of this oven was Isser Hano. So I don't know if there's a way to kasher that.
But
What's done is
that's also
done.
because it's clay. So the
Well, that I
first
don't
baking
know.
bakes the oven.
Okay, so that I'm not sure. But yeah. Anyways, okay. So let's see. So
So would that be applicable to our ovens?
No, because our ovens don't have to. Our ovens are in good shape right from the beginning. They don't need to have anything done to them. I don't think, right?
Like Zaya, right?
Yeah, you get into that. We get into that whole thing, but that's not solidifying the oven.
Because this doesn't seem to show that there's an issue with the Zaya, right? If you have whatever.
No, this is not a Zaya issue. This is not a Zaya issue. This is just the heat from the Isser Hana of fixing up the oven. Okay, so the Gemara says, "Vatanya bein chadash bein yashad yutzan." We said whether it's a new oven. We have a brisa that says whether it's a new oven or an old oven, you have to just cool it off. You don't have to break it. Like kasha harebi v'rabbanon. One is Rebbe, right, and one is the Rabbanon, right? Rebbe's the one that's going to say that it's assur, and the Rabbanon would say that you don't have to bust the oven. Hey, so the Gemara says, "Hey, the shamalei Rebbe mishum deyesh shvach eitzim b'pas." Rebbe only said his din because he held that the shvach of the eitzim makes the bread better. Zev is garim bishamalei, but do we say that zev is garim is assur according to Rebbe? Right? Meaning zev is garim means when you have two things, something mutter and something assur, causing something to happen. Right? So we have a Machlokes whether zev is garim is mutter or assur, because it's partially done by something beheter and partially something be'isser, as we're going to see. Right? No, one's Rebbe Eliezer, one's Rabbanon. Hey, Rebbe Eliezer, which Rebbe Eliezer is it? Rebbe Eliezer, the Sa'or. If it's Rabbi Eliezer about sa'ar, which is chametz. The tanan sa'ar shachul v'shal truma shenaflu tzayich isa. If you have sa'ar, what do you call it? Sa'ar, leaven. But what is it? It's the stuff that makes it rise.
Sourdough.
Right? I don't know if it's sour. The wood, yeah, something like that. To sa'ar shal chulin v'shal truma. So you have chulin and truma. Shenaflu tzayich isa fell into a dough. Vein bezek gadol hachritz, vein bezek gadol hachritz. So it wasn't enough of chulin and there wasn't enough of truma to make the dough rise. Then it's starfu and they combine together, but together they do. Rabbi Eliezer says, I go with whichever one fell in last, right? Because whichever one fell in last, that's the one that's making the bread be able to rise, the dough be able to rise. Whether the Isser fell in first, which would be the Trumah in this case, or whether the Isser fell afterwards, it's not going to be assur ad sheyehei until there's enough in there that it's enough Isser to make it chametz. When did Rabbi Eliezer say his din that he goes with the last thing? That's only talking about shekinim v'siluk as a Isser. That's only if you took out the Isser before the heter fell in. But if you did not remove the Isser, assur, then it's assur. Alma zevazeh garim assur. So you see, according to Rabbi Eliezer, zevazeh garim is assur. So the Gemara asks, when we mind the time of the Rabbi Eliezer, Abaya, who says the reason Rabbi Eliezer is like Abaya? Dilma time of the Rabbi Eliezer, mishum the achar acharon aniba. Maybe Rabbi Eliezer goes no with whichever fell in last. Loishna kina v'silga zisr, loishna loy kina v'silga zisr. Right, makes no difference if you took it out first. But if it fell together, then it would be mutter because he would hold zevazeh garim is mutter. Meaning the Gemara is just saying, who says that your assumption is correct? That he had to take out the Isser first. Maybe it's not correct. So we don't know which Rabbi Eliezer it is. Elo Rabbi Eliezer to atzei asherah. It must be Rabbi Eliezer of using wood of asherah, like we had 2 days ago, using wood of yesterday of aveida zara. The Tanan. We're going to go to 2 dots so that we can do the Amud tomorrow. Yeah, the Tanan not al him and eitzim assur ba'ano. If you took wood from the atzei asherah, it's also ba'ano. Hisik behenes tanur. If you heated up a tanur with the wood from the asherah, chadash yutatz. If it's a brand new oven, then you got to destroy it because aveida zara is also b'hana. Yashan yutzan. If it's old, then you got to cool it off before you use it again. Off Abaya sapas, assur b'hana. If you bake bread in this oven with fuel, with wood from aveida zara, it's also b'hana. Nis'ara ba'acherus, va'acherus ba'acherus, and then that bread gets mixed in with other bread, and then that bread gets mixed in with other bread. Kulan assur b'hana. It's also b'hana, as we know, because aveida zara is never batal, right? Rabbi Eliezer Aimer, you can just take the hana throw it out to the Yamamelach, and that would be enough, right? Meaning you take out how much is the wood worth? How much of the hana from the wood that's in the bread is it worth? You sell the bread, you take that, let's say it was $1, you take that $1 and you destroy it, right? So Amar Loi ain't pigeon avodah zara. I said, no, you can't do that. There's no pigeon for avodah zara. So that's not gonna help, right? So he clearly says from here that it's zevazeh garim is assur, right? So then Gemara asks, "Ema the shama leilur Rabbi Eliezer b'avodah zara dechamer isura b'shari sun shebetorah mishamas le." Maybe Rabbi Eliezer only says zevazeh garim is assur. That's why avodah zara, which is obviously a very chomerdika thing. But by other isurim in the Torah, who says he says it? Elim Kain. So then the Gemara says, if that's the case, aman taramya, which you always have to love that. Who we putting the shita on? So that must be your kasha, it's not a kasha, because otherwise we have nobody to say zevazeh garim is assur, right? We have a brisa that says it. I can't understand this. First it says who we putting it on, and then we say, oh, we have a beferish brisa that says it. So what do you need the first teretz for? Right? Just say what I mean. We have a beferish brisa that says Rabbi Eliezer says zevazeh garim is assur by all other isurim in the Torah. Okay. That's not the most shvera Gemara that we're going to be learning. And in a few lines, it's one of the real shvera Gemaras. Yes, Amar Abaya. Abaya says there is a new thing. It's just a continuation of zevazeh garim. If you're going to say that zevazeh garim is assur, meaning again, what zevazeh garim is that you have isser and heter that are getting together and becoming part of a mixture, and each one by itself wouldn't be able to make the dough rise, right? But together they do. So that's zevazeh garim, and it's if you're going to say zevazeh garim is assur, Rebbe Hainu Rebbe Elazar, then Rebbe is saying the same thing as Rebbe Eliezer. V'imtim tzalaim zevazeh garim mutter. And if you're going to say no, the other way, that zev zagarim is mutter, and the reason why you have to get rid of the bread is because of the concept of the bread is making the wood is making the bread better. Then hani ka'aras because it's asiri. Any plates and kaisers and cups and what's tzloichios? That's tzloichis is what the island drinks out of, flasks, right? They're all assur, right? Because what's making them, when you're making them in a fire, and that fire is coming from something that's assur, so then those things are assur. Kipligi, so that would be okay. Kipligi, but the tanur kedera, the Machlokes would be by making a pot or a kedera. Laman damar zev zagarim assur assur. So according to Laman damar says zev zagarim is assur, it's assur. Laman damar zev zagarim mutter shari. But according to Laman damar says zev zagarim is mutter, then it would be mutter. Hikadamri. Some say the other way around. Afilu Laman damar zev zagarim mutter. Even according to Laman damar, it says that zev zagarim is mutter. Kedera asura daha kibla bishula makamei denitan eitzim de'atera. The pot is going to be makabel. It's they cook the food. I'm sorry, right? Kibla bishula before the wood was put under it. The good wood was put under it, right? Meaning, what do? You put the food in the pot, and then you put the pot on the fire, right? So you're getting hana from the pot the second the food goes in there, without the second thing, meaning without the heat, right? So that's why the pot is going to be assur. So Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Tana shesiku beklipe Orlah, bekashin shaklai hakerem, right? If you have an oven that you heat it up with Orlah or klai hakerem, chadash yutat, yashan yutzan. If it's a brand new oven, like we said before, you got to break it. Of Abaya is a pas. Rabbi Yomer a pas muteres. Rabbi says the pas is motiv, and Chamer a pas asura. Right? This is the opposite of what we learned. Peretz, here comes your favorite teretz. V'hatanya ifcha. What I mean? The Brisa says the opposite. So Shmuel ifcha tani. No, Shmuel learned it the other way around. Right? And then this next teretz, which we had once in Eruvin and once in Shabbos. V'iba yisema ba'alma kasavar Shmuel halacha karebi mechaveiroi v'loi mechaveiroi. Shmuel held halachas like Rebbe when Rebbe argues with his friend, but not when he argues with his friends, plural. Meaning, we don't paskin like Rebbe when he's neged a roiv, only when it's one-on-one. And here, Shmuel thought that we should paskin like Rebbe, even though he's going against his friends multiple. And he says, therefore, I'm going to teach the Brisa in the opposite, and teach that the chachamim are the ones that say that the pas is assur, even though that's Rebbe. That's why the Rabbanan are going to paskin that it's assur. Meaning, you hear what the Gemara just did, that Shmuel just did. He's saying, really, Rebbe holds it's assur. The Chacham holds it's mutter. The problem is we're not going to paskin like Rebbe, because the Chachamim are the roiv, and it would be mutter. So what Shmuel did, he swapped the opinions. Instead of saying Rebbe says assur, Chachamim say mutter. Since Shmuel felt that you should paskin like Rebbe, so he said that Rebbe said mutter, and the Chachamim say assur, when really it was the opposite. And the reason why he switched it is so that the olam should paskin like the roiv, even though the roiv was really like Rebbe. Basically, he cooked the books so that the psak would go like Rebbe's psak. Remember, we had it in Shabbos where somebody came and said, "Oh, R Yochanan said this didn't," even though R Yochanan didn't say it, so that the olam would paskin like him. And there was another place in Eruvin.
Rav Yossi.
It was Rav Yossi, whatever it was. I don't have pshat. Along with Marasayan, this goes into the Marasayan section. I have no idea. If anybody has a pshat, you please let me know. I don't know. Ich weiß nicht. All right. Anyways, so tomorrow, what time? What time is Lichtbench?
12:30.
4:11 is candle lighting.
4:11. So when we do 1:45?
Yeah.
Okay, 1:45. Okay, fine. I'm sorry if we went a little over tonight.
But we have a lot in Yiddishkeit where people bend the truth. Going back to the Chumash itself for a greater purpose.
I know, but it's I don't know. I don't know how you do it. I mean, here Rebbe. I mean, basically Shmuel said Rebbe said one way and the Chum said the other way, and he swapped it so that they paskin like the chachamim. Okay, I mean, who gave Shmuel the right to decide that here we should paskin like Rebbe when he's not the Rav? Right? I guess it was an ace losses. I guess. I don't know. If you do this though, if anybody
Gemara
decides
didn't
to,
criticize him.
you better know a lot of Torah if you're going to do this. What are you saying?
Dr. Zakarowitz, I want to give you a compliment.
That's scary.
Your double entendre line was the best line you've said since I've been coming to the daf.
Oh, very good.
See me after class.
Very good. Very good.
That was a pickup joke.
It's I was thinking for the we had a question about the Hanukkah nears, why we hold it to a higher standard of kedusha. It's the only mitzvah I could think of that's based completely on the aveida in the Beis Hamikdash. Everything else.
So you want to?
I even saw a little bit of a Hasidish part. I saw that it said that it's mamish like it's the menorah wasn't lit in the chatzar. It was lit in the eglah, I think.
Right.
So it's saying that it's going on everybody. It's like a zayvi, everybody's like the kohen gadol. So it's held to a higher standard.
I hear that. That's not bad word. That's not a bad word. I was looking more for practical halacha, but that sure beats them. That's good. I like that.
I like that. But it's
we'll take Hasidish. We'll take Hasidish. Avraham Biegas is looking for sources for birthday giving a bracha. He went Hasidish today. He got Reb Chaim Kanevsky. He's working on it. So Hasidish sometimes the way you got to go. But
right.
Anyway, very good.
Yeah.
I like that part. I like that part.
Yeah, what? I don't know if I remember correctly. In the beginning of the daf about the kataras, didn't the Gemara? I forgot where. Isn't there a Gemara that the Gemara talks really bad about the family? They wouldn't tell anyone the recipe for the kataras. I may be totally off base.
The what? I'm trying to remember.
That there was only one family that knew the recipe for the kataras, and they wouldn't tell anyone.
Correct.
And the Gemara says really like nasty things about them. No.
They're the ones that got the ring. Their ring was locked. That family of kohanim.
No, that was the Wolf family.
No, Gerson, what did you say? Is it in Pesachim? Where?
I think it's Talmud. I think it's in Talmud. Mishnah in Talmud. It's a Mishnah. There were two families. Right. One did the lechem aponim, one did the ketayras.
Right. So
one of them got cursed. One of them got benched. Neither of them spread it.
Right. I think it was like really bad. If I remember correctly, I'll look it up if it's in Talmud. But it was like really bad things that they didn't tell anyone what the kataras was.
Yeah.
Icky, just think about it. It's like those barbecue guys have their secret rub.
Yeah. And nothing
Wait, talking about barbecue, Reb Tzviakov.
Yeah.
With this whole firewood business and Zev Zegairim, why are there poskim who are machmir on flavored firewoods? Isn't the whole thing Zev Zegairim anyway?
What's a flavored firewood?
You're talking about you were handling this once. The flavors.
Hickory smoke and
no, even Paris was handling the flavored pellets.
Yeah, if it's flavored, they're not flavored.
Whatever you want to call it, they put
They're
stuff on.
scented.
Not scented either.
My parents have gotten
they
ones.
Said I read a thing last week that said one of the biggest holiday gifts is they make logs, fireplace logs that are licensed by Kentucky Fried Chicken.
KFC logs, yes, they sell out in a minute. They say it smells like a bucket of chicken. If you read the reviews, everybody goes, "I got ripped off."
Yeah, but either way, the ones that are the wood and the charcoal pellets that have whatever you want to call it, not flavoring, whatever it is.
No, my shilah I had that was Pesach time. That's chametz. Comes from a barrel of schnapps.
Okay, so let's use that one then. Why isn't that Zev Zegairim?
Getting hana from chametz.
It's Zev Zegairim. The same our sugya is Zev Zegairim. The log isn't chametz. The log is wood. There is chametz in it.
Well, you're assuming that it's 10:22, and I remember what we learned at 9:22.
No, I'm assuming your brother remembers.
What do you tell Tzviak? What was the psak lamaisa with the hockey players?
I said no.
So Rabbi, I signed out a little bit. Are we having shiur tomorrow?
Yeah,
3:45.
3:45.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yaakov.
Yeah.
Why isn't the bourbon firewood, the bourbon whatever, charcoal bricks, gairim?
What you're coming from that it's assur or mutter?
The place can say it's assur. Why should it be assur?
Do they say it's assur? We talking about on Pesach?
Yeah. Let's say Pesach. That too.
They say,
yeah.
dude, is that what they say? It's assur?
Yeah, the guy from the OU told me better not to use it. He's going to look into it, but better not to use it.
Okay, I don't hear.
Oh, yeah, you're not letting it from burning. I don't understand. Well, you could say garim. You burn the chametz. You're not allowed to get enough from it.
That's our sugya. You have aveida zara. Which one's worse? Chametz on Pesach or aveida zara? Aveida zara is mutter. Chametz is assur.
Yeah.
Kumra de Pesach shani more than aveida zara.
Right. I hear. I don't know. I wasn't sure because it gets burnt up immediately. I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought I saw someplace that those barbecue things were not such the briquettes. You know, there was a hack about the barbecue briquettes and they came out that it was not a problem. No.
Well, it's probably
chemicals. I don't know who came out with what.
What?
No, they add alcohol to it. Because alcohol burns.
Right.
Whoa. Suntag. Whoa.
What are you talking about?
What happened?
What?
Suntag. I guess you don't do in-learning in person anymore.
Who?
You're Chavrusa.
Yeah, because his brother's got COVID. Yeah.
All right.
All righty, everybody.
Signing off.
Goodbye.
Jaco, I have to end the thing.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Exit the whole thing.
Plus, your internet is going out, unless it's mine.
Jaco, I have to shut down the whole thing. You'll have to relog back in with content.
I usually do that. Parrots, I'm giving shiur Motzei Shabbos to the ladies, 9:15. Can you record that, please?
What kind of shiur?
It's on my status. Hilchos Shabbos.
Just remind me, yeah.
They finally won me over, and I gotta give it to the ladies, 9:15.
What ladies?
I have no idea. Whichever ladies want. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying which
ladies.
I'm saying which organization got you to do this?
No organization.
Getting the login. I'm telling you now, you're not getting the login.
I'm not interested.
The login it's on this channel. I told them. I told them.
If we get him the front row seats, can Liner join?
Yeah. They wanted to start at 9:00. I said, we finished the daf. We start at 8. I said, all these ladies are going to log on. I'm going to see a bunch of overweight, middle-aged men. It's not going to be good. It's going to be a good situation. So 9:15.
Who were you hacking? Who's asking you to do this?
A bunch of ladies have been asking, but I'm not allowing questions. Obviously, I'm not going to see them on the screen. No questions other than they have to text on the question. They have to post the question.
That's something I could set up.
What do you mean?
That they can't allow, I think, I have to look, but it can't allow
an automated mute?
Automated mute, and that it can't allow people to show their video.
Wow.
Yeah, find that if you could do that.
All right, so I have a quick question. Am I allowed to? I'm assuming allowed. I just want to know: is it since Shabbos is tomorrow and I have to go to work? It's a short day. Can I pack up my menorah tonight, or it's not good to show that you're getting rid of the mitzvah so fast?
No problem.
No problem.
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, remember to keep the oil, the wicks.
That's right.
No, that
was another thing, Tiago. Like, at what point do you put the menorah away? If you leave it Friday night, is it considered, bataisif or something? Start to light candles in it for your Shabbos candles.
By us, the menorah stay out until the next time the shiksa comes. Right? That's the way it goes by us.
I wanted to say out, but Yehuda Shmuel is gonna.
Yes, I hear that.
Get to it. That's the problem. We have to put it away for you. We don't have to watch him so much.
Fair enough.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
All righty. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.